Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is the 9 o'clock hour right here on Rapid Dawn. As promised, we're back and it's about to be an interesting conversation. My name is Mata Alu.
And my name is Victor. Okay, welcome to the big conversation right here on Rapid Television. We're glad to have you on the conversation this morning.
All right, before we get into the conversation, might I ask you guys to look out for me because we have 3 men in the studio. It's just me, Lord help me.
Here to
because
protect
to protect me,
that's all it is.
You look like you're about to drag me, but anyways, we're up for it. When we're in the month of June and it is the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and today this program refuses to look away because the numbers are speaking even when the men are not. In Nigeria, a country of about 200 million people, an estimated 20 to 30% of the population is battling some form of mental health problem, which of course is according to NIH. That is potentially 70 million Nigerians battling mental health. And embedded within that figure is a group that rarely makes it to a therapy room, rarely calls a helpline, and rarely tells anyone at all: Nigerian men. Studies confirm that suicide rates in Nigeria are higher among males than females. And researchers point directly to cultural norms of masculinity that discourage men from speaking or seeking help. And globally, men are nearly 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. This, of course, is data according to Health Assured. And yet we keep telling them a man must almost entirely man up without support. This is not just a health story. It's a story about identity, about what we have taught men to become, and what that conditioning is costing them. And today, we're going to have a very honest conversation, I'm hoping, about what men's mental health actually look like in Nigeria, and without shame. So joining us today for this conversation are 2 people who sit at the intersection of this problem every day. We have Anthony Ezekiel, and he is the Assistant Unit Head Programs and Design at the Mental Health for Youth Initiative, an organization working on the front lines of mental health access and awareness for young Nigerians. And then we also have Victor Prince Dixon. He's a human capital development expert who understands what it is in the boardrooms and in the workplaces, what happens to an organization and to a country when men fall. So welcome, gentlemen, to Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid TV.
Thank you for having us.
Quick question. Are you guys going to be on my side or you're going to be on the side? You're going to be on the side of... Be on the side of truth. I think it's a lot safer.
Well, you asked them to take sides already.
All right. Now, Anthony, I'll start with you because you work with the Mental Health for Youth Initiative with young Nigerians on a daily basis. So when we strip back the surface conversation about men and mental health, what do you see? What are the things that you see in that space that are often not spoken about in the public?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I would like to say that, most of the times, people just tell men, be a man, man up, and all of that. Nobody really pays attention to why a man is responding the way he's doing. Nobody pays attention to why a man is talking the way he's doing. And most of the times, nobody pays attention to why a man is behaving the way he's doing. Most of the times, we see that there is little or no productivity at work, maybe even at home, and we don't even care to find out what exactly is happening. We just go, man up, man. Just do what you got to do. You are a man. You are the man of the house. Sometimes that's where the people now pay attention to the man being the leader of the home, and even at work. So I see that there is this form of not paying attention to what happens to men. And we need to go past just saying man up. We need to say something like, baby, can you talk to me?
Okay.
Pay attention to something like that.
That sounds like your girlfriend's problem.
No, I mean, even the couples at home, you can talk to your husband like that. Call his attention. Babe, you can talk to me. I'm your safe place. Because when men don't find a safe place, we keep it all in. We bottle it up.
Okay.
So, but when there is a safe space, you'll be surprised at the things that can actually come out of our mouths.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Let me come to you, Victor. Thank you, Ezekiel. You made mention of the fact that men are always told to man up, right? How did we come about that narrative? When there is a challenge, that cliche is just there, bro. Man up. How do we come about that narrative right now?
I think we have to begin first by saying finally men are getting justice. Yes,
that's right.
I'll begin from that
agree.
perspective. And the reason why is because Timi Dakolo just released a song, Brotherly, right?
That's right.
It took you guys this long? It took you guys this long?
That's what I now said, finally.
Okay.
But again, you have to first backtrack to the history of mental health before you understand that.
Okay.
Before now, mental health was almost an issue discussed from a perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from a cultural perspective. We had not brought science to it. We have not brought psychology, epigenetics, cognitive science, all those studies that really takes you to the point to say this is the beginning of mental health.
Wow.
These are the challenges. Because I think I would like for us to backtrack a little bit and lay a little bit foundation. Now, mental health is not a disease. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
It's just a discussion on how a man relates to pressure, how a man relates to the society, how a man relates to the challenges in the environment. How does his cognitive, the power of thinking brain comes into it? How does the psychology comes into it? How does emotions comes to be? So at the end of the day, it's a game of discussing what you call the competence of living well. How can you live well in an environment where there are a lot of pressures coming from different directions? But because there was no study then, at that point in time, we now came to the point that a man simply is the head of the home. So you take the bullet, whatever comes. And if you die in the process, it has been allocated to you as a man to just be the man.
Right.
So in that kind of context, there was no room allowed for a discussion of, today I am tired, today I feel weak, today I am emotionally low. Those rooms were not available.
Truly.
And because of those cultural challenges, at the end of the day, it now becomes that anytime you say it, it means you are a weak man. So saying I am tired became weakness. Saying today is not the best of my day became weakness. So at the end of the day, most people now picked it up. And like they said, the mistakes of the past generation becomes the culture of the next generation.
Right.
So because it has been done over the years, people now picked it up. It now became a language presently.
Right.
But the beauty, and I thank you for what you're doing, what this awareness is bringing to say, look, there are dynamics to this thing.
Right.
Let's step back a little bit, look at how it works, look at the process, and then see how to manage it. So I would say thank you for having
All right. Surprisingly, we had a conversation similar to this sometime last week, Wednesday, and we're talking about stereotypes and the pressures that these stereotypes have put on both genders. And this happened to be one of the major things where the society has conditioned the man to be a certain way. Now, let's speak about how these has affected the man, because when we talk about the problem, then we can proffer solutions. How they have been masked the fragility of their emotions just because society says so. So how has that affected the man? I would like to hear from both your perspective how that has affected the man.
Okay, if you look at my work covers entirely the work of human capital, and it covers right from a very, very young age, to a very, very higher level of, 70, 80 and the rest of them. And also I've had the opportunity to, as a coach also, to do training for most women. And I can tell you this that are unique, which is the first one is that you are dealing with one, cognitive capacity, meaning ability to think through.
Right.
So for a man and for any human being, the key word and one of your function is to solve problems.
Okay.
But if you have a challenge with mental health, especially when it runs into the negative, it means your thinking capacity lowers.
Yeah.
So your capacity to solve problem becomes an issue. And then one of the major challenges of mental health, especially from a negative range of it, is that it causes you to have a lot of cortisol, which is the hormones that comes with stress.
Okay.
And so when a person, any human being, even if it's a man, is highly stressed, productivity is low,
That's right.
their capacity to be human becomes low. They are no longer patient, they are no longer very kind, they become irritable. So at the end of the day, you can't even make the best of any human being where at that level of threshold. And then emotions also play a very big role in what they call decision making and performance. When you have challenges, I think, let me conclude by saying this. If you run your hands like this, in a most simple form, this is the brain. At this base is what they call the basic brain. This is one that controls breathing, blood, and the rest of them. Here is the prefrontal cortex. This is the one that controls creative thinking, critical thinking. This one is the amygdala. And immediately you become too emotional as a human being, it suspends your capacity to be critical, to think creatively, and the rest of them. So the first damage it does to any man is that it reduces their capacity to be productive.
Which is what they are defined by, according
This is
to
what most people are defining them with. And so when they lower that capacity to be productive, it also affects their self-worth.
Yeah.
Their identity issue. It lowers them. So at the end of the day, they start believing that they have no value in the society. And that you can look down the drain. You can't predict what will happen. Suicide is there. Anger is there. Domestic violence, you will find it there.
Right.
It entirely is a downstream.
All right. Let's hear you, Anthony.
Okay, I'll just take off from where he just stopped. And I would like to say also that you would see men are expected to do certain things. We're expected to bring things to the table and all of that. Most of the times where people forget that we're actually the table. People come to drop a lot of stuffs on top of us.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. So you would see that I have worked with young people and I've noticed that one of the things that reduces productivity is stress. So much stress.
Right.
People are tired. They don't get enough sleep and then they are expected to bring 100% results in the office or probably even at school. I've worked with students too. And then you would see one of the reasons why students will tell you they are not performing well is because there is no money. Money also affects mental health.
Yeah.
When you have so much money, there's a way you think.
Truly.
Yes, but when you don't have it, I
knows.
tell you, sometimes you will even be surprised if your brain is actually functioning well. You can't think straight. Your mind is clouded with so many things and all of that. But I believe that when we begin to pay attention to having somebody to talk to, if I have somebody to talk to when I have a challenge, it eases me of the stress. It releases me of the mental stress.
Yeah.
So it helps me to be able to now think, handle things step by step. Sometimes you just see that when you are faced with different challenges from every angle, you want to dodge so that you can just rest. So sometimes we need somebody to talk to. We also need to rest. Men, learn to rest. It's very important.
And
to
that's an
rest.
important core,
Yeah.
a very important core, basically. Again, the song you mentioned, it has lots of narrative, and I think to me that could actually encouragement to actually speak up, find that one person that you can, basically confide in. But again, we said that WHO actually has that record that says that men are less likely to seek help, and according to their data as well, men still go ahead to commit suicide. As a matter of fact, you also read that in your introduction that the number of men that commit suicide due to the mental health issues, they are more, compared to any other gender as it is. You've talked about seeking help. You've talked about resting. But beyond this, right, what can be done even further to ensure that men actually speak up, as it is? Because it's a difficult thing now. We're encouraging people to speak up, but how can we now speak up as men?
To begin with, first of all, most of this discussion are not cast in stone, and even the W Health, data that you just gave, it's actually a little bit backdated. There's some, the previous evolution of it, because as we study, we learn, we go into the field, we are learning some few things that are happening.
Right.
First of all, to begin with, one of the major challenges of mental health, you need to know, begins from upbringing. One of the major challenges of mental health lies within the confines of the home. At the point you're growing up, parents, they are correcting you, and maybe at the point of correcting, you want to cry, I don't want to hear anything. You are a man.
Yeah.
You are a boy. So it begins to set the pace. So imagine you're telling a child growing up for almost 10, 15, 20 years that it is poor for a man to cry. It is embarrassing and shameless for a man to cry. And cry here is just an expression of pain.
Emotion, yeah.
Now, that is for a child. So at the point you go higher, expression of I don't have money, expressions of I'm tired,
Right.
expressions of my heart is broken, expression of she left me, expression of this divorce is hitting me bad, expression that I did an investment and it didn't work well. All of them are pain that needs to be expressed. When you are young, you express it perhaps through crying. But now you're growing older, you only express it through complaint and through perhaps even crying. Yes, an older man needs to cry. That's just the truth.
That's right.
Because if you look at the psychological and emotional benefit of tears, it is highly therapeutic. So it makes sense to cry.
Truly.
At that level, you have conditioned you for 20 years. How do you expect that person to easily change it? And that is why you see, I come back to what Rapid TV is doing. I'm saying it begins with awareness first. Look, every human being you see, there's a way I put it, God creates, the society manufactures. Every human being you see was manufactured from the society.
Right.
What they see, the models, the experiences, the tagline, eventually makes people. So the only way to balance it again is to go the other way around. Orient, teach, expose men to understand, look, there is no shame in sitting down. However, this is where the problem, you know, my brother said, and he's very right, you need to share. But also, who you share with might either increase your mental health or decrease your mental health.
That's right.
Because if you share with someone already who has some very toxic behavior, the person will give you back in toxicness. If you say, look, my business is really going down, feeling bad, is it not Nigeria? Everything has collapsed. I don't think any business is doing well. Then your mental health will go higher again.
Right.
So at the end of the day, sharing makes sense. But the first thing I always advocate is first, it is your lifestyle and identity as a person. You must be very intentional in creating what they call a tribe. One
That's
of the best safe zone for mental health is create a tribe early enough before you have challenge.
Yeah.
Create like minds.
Okay.
People who you know, if you put your head on their shoulder, you're safe. People who understand this discussion enough to know that when you say I am tired, nobody insults you.
Truly.
And that's why even in relationship, we always advocate as a man, be very particular about the woman you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You must be able to choose a partner, a wife, someone who you can share your pain with, and she can take it and then give you advice.
That's right.
If you do otherwise, then it's on you. It's not on the society now. It's you that decided to go and pick a toxic situation.
And not on the gender.
No, it's not. Well, I don't know.
Okay. Yes, and yes, that brings me to my next question, because you know, oftentimes when people make the wrong choices and they now start to face the consequence of that choices, they generalize it. Oh, that's how men are.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's how
yes,
women are.
yes.
And
True,
that's what I meant by it's based
not
on
on
your
the
it's
gender.
based off on your
Your
choice.
choice. Leave it
It's,
is.
it's your choice, not the gender general. So because when we do that, we create another stereotype that in
I agree
turn
with you.
becomes a problem, you know, eventually. So let me ask, he said something about, the men are not speaking up, you know, they just keep up, ask your husband. But I just want to put it to you that no matter how much you try to make an environment conducive for a person to speak, if they do not want to speak, they will not speak, right? So you might not agree with that school of thought, but I mean, these are practical based on my personal interactions with the male gender. Because again, the society tells them that. So there's something I was telling him about this morning. It's called the muscle memory. Even if they want to speak to you about it, that memory conditions them to what their upbringing and their environment has conditioned them to over the years, just like you said. So as a man now, struggling with the box that society has put you in, and now learning that it's important for you to air out your views and your opinions and your thoughts, how can you move from the point where you box up your emotions because of society to now letting it freely go? You have made mention of some points, which is it's important for you to make your choice rightly and not open up to just anybody. But what other ways can a man be more expressive with his emotions?
Okay, I think the first thing here is acceptance. Many men don't accept that they are going through a challenge.
Delusional
There
living.
is denial. You just don't want to accept, since it's been said before that that is what your reality is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for you to accept and say, oh, there's a new information coming out. I'm supposed to accept that. I'm actually supposed to speak up.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing we need to do is to accept. Then after accepting, we need to find more information. We need to educate ourselves. We need to be informed. It's been said that when you are not informed, you'll be deformed, or you are deformed.
Yeah.
So we need to get more information. And then the third thing is we need to act. Act with the information you've got. Act on the information you've gotten. You need to speak up, start speaking up. Okay, I have a couple of friends. I think there are 3. So we are like a group of 4 friends. No matter what I am going through, I am so sure that there is a safe space I can go to.
That's the tribe.
Let's not limit it to the tribe now, because that would then be just the men.
Okay.
I'm talking about in relations to your spouses, because some spouses find it difficult to get that out of you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
so they are listening to you. I'm listening to you. You know, that counts for something. But say, how can you relieve those cultural norms, societal dictates that have made you silent?
Okay, do you know? Okay, let me say this. There are environments that gives you a feel of, I think you can say this.
Right.
Sometimes take your husband out.
Or back there.
Yes, take him out. No, I'm serious.
That's true.
Take him out. Take him to, probably there's something he has said before that he would want to enjoy. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about taking him probably to the Bahamas or something? Just take him somewhere beautiful that he wants to be. And you'll be surprised at the things that will come out of his mouth.
Okay.
He would speak up. Get him something he loves. Not always him providing. I know, yeah, we're meant to provide, but who provides for us? Sometimes, even out of what we've provided, something should be given to us to say, oh, thank you, you did this for me. And you see, sometimes you see the men busting out crying.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because of those small gestures.
If you notice how sometimes some men actually, as much as possible, keep their birthdays aside. And then we hear them say to their spouses, don't worry, don't celebrate, man, all of that. But you also rarely see, or sometimes when you see that their spouses eventually goes ahead to celebrate them, you see how fragile the man becomes.
But why do you say no when you mean yes?
So that's the point. Again, he made a point. The both of them have already established it. The men basically just want to be in that macho element where you want to continually provide, basically. And then your job is just, let's just be giving all of this thing. You take yourself away from the equation most times because you think all you need to do is to make that provision and the protection available. When we walk on the roadside, we stand close to the danger zone just to ensure that we protect our ladies. That's the kind of mentality that will carry every point in time. But let's get back.
I was hoping that he would do an extension of that as well.
Yeah.
How to move out of that.
Exactly.
Because practically speaking, there are sessions where you speak to women and they're like, oh, this man, all he does is just provide. He's not emotionally available, which is the same thing we're talking about. So according to them, I've taken them out, I've done this, I've spoken to him, I've read all of that, and it still is not working.
So how do they do it properly?
How do you do it properly?
I think this is my core field. This is what I do. As a coach, I've had opportunity to see men on their stage at their best. I've had opportunity to see them when they come down from the stage. Then I've seen them cry with mucus coming from their nose. So I have seen the entire spectrum. And also, like I said, I think I've coached close to 250 executive women so far. So I have opportunity to hear most of what you're sharing. First of all, don't fall into that trap to think men don't share. No. Say the kind of men I have met don't share.
Yeah.
There are men who share.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the challenge, especially coming from the woman perspective, is that we find it difficult to count the mass we will cover in a relationship before we marry a man. From the first day of dating, you should know the man you're dealing with, whether you have the emotional capacity to manage this bundle of emotions. Because every human being you see is a bundle of emotions. A lot of experience made them. Now, it is not fair, again, in the spirit of progress, that with so much study and education coming up, so much, hands-on learning, we are still coming back to want to quote what happens in the past. That wouldn't be fair. I teach a lot of, muscle memory. There is muscle memory, I agree, but muscle memory is open to constant reprogramming, improvement, and growth. So anytime you see someone consistently telling you about the past, just be rest assured you're dealing with someone that has not grown. Just know that. It's just a very simple thing. The simple word is, I may have this challenge in the past, but I have learned over the years. Because I will tell you this, nobody succeeds truly in life without having somebody to talk to, especially a close person.
Absolutely.
And I mean a woman. I'm not saying the tribe. Because yes, one of the things we've not learned sometimes is that, one of the greatest gift you give a woman, what do you think it is? Safety. Most women are not even safe to be safe. Do you understand? Sometimes we ask people to do what they don't have the capacity to do. Now you ask a woman who went through an entire environment with a muscle memory of how dare you ask a man what is going through. So even when she's asking, she's seeing that I'm coming out of my space to do what I'm not supposed to do. She doesn't see it as it's one of those, if me and you can marry, then it simply means we're at the level where I can ask you anything in the spirit of accountability and also care. So the women who understand that from day one, believe you me, from day one of courtship or relationship, will sit down and ask your guy, how are you feeling? And that's why if you know a lot in this field, you know that the word okay and fine is a danger signal.
Absolutely.
How are you? I'm okay. Something is wrong. Don't
Something
bother.
is really wrong.
Okay, how are you? I'm fine. Something is wrong. Those two lines. So if you learn, so it will come back to the key word. You see, every problem on earth is a problem of knowledge. We are all victims of what we don't know.
That's right.
So you end up with the fact that the man must learn to know more. The woman also must learn to know more. There are wives that have gone out of their way to take courses on how best to relate with the man.
Okay.
That's personal development. There are men also that have gone out of their way to say, beyond my skill and competence in other fields, how best can I make myself easier and accessible, so that I tap into the strength of the woman. So if those people are willing to now improve themselves, this argument of talking or no talking is out of the question. Yes.
But again, let me continue now, Tony. Because a lot of times, because of the way the whole thing has been, he talked about it, let's not go back to the past so much. But many times, because of the way men are perceived, even in the past and up until maybe sometimes now, we see that the warning signs are usually being maxed up when it comes to mental health, the challenges. And so sometimes people don't know when a man is going through stuff, right? Now, what are some of those warning signs that people need to look out for to knowing that this man is actually battling with a mental health, maybe condition at this point in time, or is going through stuff at this point in time? What are those warning signs?
I'll deal with it. I'm working on it.
Right. Those are the words that he says.
Those are the words.
I'll handle it.
I'll handle it. Just let me be the man. You hear things like that. So when a man, it could be that when a man says it once, it's not a warning sign.
Okay.
But if it's been said repeatedly, it's really a sign. In fact, it's not just a red flag. That is like a red street.
What if that's a reassurance?
You would know at the end of the day.
Right.
You would find out if it's a reassurance.
Okay.
If he actually deals with it, and he is not lost himself at the end of the day. Yes. But if he says that over and over again and you see that results are not coming up, you are saying you will be the man, they should let you be the man, but you are not able to do what as the man you are supposed to do, then they need to pay attention to you.
But you said something, if you can do it without being lost along the way. That's the key word that actually stood out for me. How do we ensure that we're not lost in carrying out our responsibilities as men? Well, let's continue now, Victor.
One of them is that the man will start increase his consumption of television or screen time.
Yeah.
Because what are they doing? They are shutting down. They are staying on their own. And one of the danger of the screen, phones and television oftentimes is actually just so that the man can hide.
Right.
What most people don't know is that men who watch television actually, especially most football people, are actually hiding from certain reality. So for you, you're seeing the screen. You see them sit. And that's why they don't like, most times, those people who are within that group now, they don't like you watching the ball with them.
Sure.
How you know is, can I sit with you? No, don't worry. Just be doing something else.
I'm fine by myself.
I'm fine, don't worry. I'm just watching this match.
Then they now get a double heartbeat and the Arsenal fans.
Come on.
Don't go there now. Don't go there now. At least after 22 something happened now.
I understand.
She wouldn't let me breathe.
So most times, screen is usually one of the most potent way of hiding pain presently in this generation. Men do it, women do it.
Right.
So they transfer that energy into, let the screen be busy. So you see somebody be watching, and then one of the way you catch them, if you really want to catch them, is watch them per second, ask them a question of what happened on the screen.
They can't tell me anything.
You just notice you said, oh, they passed the ball. But the person's mind was on the but the mind was shut down. So oftentimes that's number one. Then number two, like he said, ambience and environment is what makes it easier. When people say men don't talk, it's not true. Every man has tried to talk at one point or the other. It was the response and the feedback that shut them down. So for instance, we are having house rent issue, the children are having issue. I know they're having issue, but I'm thinking that, look, not thinking anything, my child cannot come out from school. They can't just send my child home, just know that one. And I can't come from my father's house and then you're telling me that I'm living outside. You see, immediately you said that, what you just told the man, I don't care what you're feeling. I don't care the pain. What I know is, fix this matter.
Right.
So automatically the man shut down, because at that point you just said, I don't have room to listen to your pain.
No empathy.
Do you
But there's
understand?
another problem, which
What's
I
that?
think that we should speak about
What's
also, especially when it comes to family dynamics like this, where you say, oh, you have to provide, if you don't provide this and that and that. But there are instances where these women also try to step in situations like this. And it becomes an abuse on the masculinity of the man, even if the man is struggling with this responsibility. How do you address this? Because on one hand, he's trying to preserve his masculinity by being able to provide. On the other hand, he's not willing to let his ego go and let someone else carry his responsibility. This is like the roads you find most men. How?
Let me add a few lines before he joins. There is the see, that thing is a spectrum, and there are conditionality to it. There are people that will give you food and insult you. Just know that. For instance, in this same situation, that argument continues and he ends with, look, if you cannot, let me just take care of my children. In that kind of scenario, it's wrong, right? But there are also men who are still battling off the past, like you said. If you remember what I said, the entry point to marriage is actually what defines what happens in marriage.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't pay attention to that entry point. We want to start recorrecting and adjusting things when already the foundation has been structured. At the point you start a relationship, for God's sake, there should be that kind of conversation that say, babe, in case I read, you know you fall in, no problem, I'll fall in. Guy, don't worry, I have your back. You pursue this deal. In fact, some even get to the point they have an agreement. Look, when it comes to house rent and children, leave it for me and home. You go pursue the big deal.
Right.
There's a lot of conversations. It is when you feel, like I said, when you fail to count 1 and 2, 3 and 4, becomes a recurrent problem.
Right.
There are certain foundations that if you lay, to be honest, most of these things, no brainer. They're not an issue.
All right, Victor, let's have Tony.
Okay, I would like to talk about partnership. Partnership. Men need to understand that marriage is partnership. You don't have to deal with everything on your own. Try to be partners. Allow the woman to also do something, even if she does not really have the full capacity to do it. That's why you are there. She's supposed to complement you. Where you have a weakness, you're supposed to cover up. Where she has a weakness, you're supposed to cover up.
Yeah.
So allow her. If she wants to, let her do it. Even if you have the capacity to do it all. Sometimes I'm not married, but I thought about it that it's okay even if my wife doesn't have the money to handle something. If I do, let me give her the money to handle it for me. Because we're already one.
Yeah.
So it's same as myself handling the same issue. So I believe that men should begin to accept that this is partnership. It's not just about me. I'm not losing when I try. I mean, when I involve my wife in doing this thing, because that's actually what most men think.
Yeah.
They think if you don't handle it all,
It's supposed to be a secret.
it's supposed to be a secret. I'm not doing that.
Do men have a secret weapon on how to? But I think
we need to go out on a very quick break. Yeah, we have spent time talking about men's mental health, and they've been generous enough to also let the women know how to let the men be.
That's how men
All right, we'll go out on this break, and when we get back, we'll keep up the conversation. Please stay with us.
This is Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. We connect people, power stories, and amplify voices. On Rapid TV, we're rooted in culture and your window to the stories that matter. From news to lifestyle, we inform, entertain, and uplift. Join Rapid TV on StarTimes Channel 176, Nightcomsat. On Rapid FM, we speak your language from the soulful airwaves of Umuahia to the vibrant culture of Port Harcourt and beyond. More than broadcasters, we're creators, amplifying that voice within with powerful content across TV, radio, and digital. Join us at rbnradiotv.com and all our social media handles. One network, one voice. Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. The sound of your city. Rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umuahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapid rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com.
Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store.
Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound
Of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, all of radio.
My name is Faith Daffa Joseph.
Name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor Arke.
My name is Divine Alex.
My name is Esther Ben.
My name is Arthur James Bruce.
My name is Godwin Sunday.
I am Ijoma Victor.
My name is Cynthia Agbo.
Josephine Bitrus.
I bet you already know that this
Is Rapid Television.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, we have been having conversations centered around men's mental health. Thank you so much. We've had Victor and we've had Anthony join us. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation.
It's a pleasure.
Anthony, I'll speak to you now.
Okay.
You work in a field where about young people and
Yeah.
it's about the mental health of young men. And we see more men being open about their emotions. They're on podcasts talking, they're on social media. But sometimes there is an outburst from these people, right? How do you think that men should go about? Because it's one way to tell someone how you feel, and it's another way your approach in telling them how you feel. From a place of anger, hurt, or blame, these also will determine the response you get in relation to that. So how do you think men should go about, expressing that emotion? And this shift, how do we ensure that it doesn't remain a surface level kind of thing? Because when we are talking on podcasts, we are not solving the problem.
Yeah.
How do we make sure it's a permanent solution to having men express their feelings even better?
Breathe. Whenever you want to express yourself, try as much as possible to breathe. It helps you calm down. It calms your nerves down. And it helps you express yourself the more. Because most of the times you notice that people just speak. They just talk. They just want to talk because they've been looking for an opportunity to talk. But once you breathe, you are calm. Your brain is still trying to process what you're going to say. So you say the right things. You don't say the wrong things, because not just talking, you can talk and just say the wrong things. So I believe that men should learn to breathe before they talk.
Okay.
They should be calm when they are talking too. Because I believe there are two different, I interpret talking and speaking as two different things.
Yeah.
Talking, you can just be talking, but when you are speaking, you are making meaning out of what you're saying. And you are not just ranting. You are honestly expressing emotions.
And just to pick up from there, because from the answer you're giving, or from the narration that she even made when she talked about podcast and outbursts, it seems like sometimes men actually get to talk when things have gone extreme, right? When they are now on a breakdown. That's where we get to some of those outbursts, basically. So why do we get to wait until things get extreme, until there's an outburst, until there's a suicidal kind of thought that's already coming to mind at that point in time? Let's get to you, Victor.
Let's be very honest with ourselves. Any man you see, no man opens up on podcasts. Let's get it clear. When we use the word men speak up, no. Any man you have seen that have come to podcast to say anything is either broken, traumatized, or depressed across board.
Right.
And there are no exceptions. And these are the reasons. I cannot have something to do with you. Open up means I discuss with you. So if I take me and you, privacy, discussions, sacred moments, and I come to a podcast, it's no longer open up. It means you're dealing with someone who is broken, traumatized, and depressed. So I can tell you with all certainty that anyone you see on podcasts doing any of this is coming from the place of being traumatic. And that's why you're asking that question. How come? And there's a key word she used, explode. Because actually it simply means at that point you have lost control. The real, what we're discussing mental health is saying control the narrative, control how you feel, control your anger, your disappointment, the betrayal. Immediately you lose that power to control, then you're playing around depression, then you're playing around identity crisis, then you're playing around mental health issues. understand the difference so that we don't bunch all of them together. Mental health in the discussion we're having now is pre-explosion, pre-anger, podcast anger thing. That's what we're discussing. So, and the key word for me at every point is this, like I always say, is learn. You know, unfortunately in this part of the world, or generally, one of the signature we have is we want to learn skill to make money, but we hardly learn skill to become healthier.
Right.
You know, one of the greatest challenge I keep asking anyone is, does it make sense that as a man, you handle 5,000, let's say 500 staff in the place of work and you're good, but you can't manage a wife and 2 children at home?
Too bad.
Have you ever asked why that tragic, position? Why? Because there is a skill teaching you on how to handle the 500 people in the place of work. There is an investment. Sometimes you wrote an exam to get a certification for that. But now when it comes to you developing yourself, you see, that's where the problem begins. So ultimately, my key emphasis has always been learn. Like you said, breathing is one of them.
Right.
In fact, what most people don't know about breathing is that if you know how most people breathe from their mouth, not from their nose, and that's the major challenge.
Right.
2, your cells knows when you breathe well and when you don't breathe well.
That's true.
And so it affects. 4 again is ability to regulate your emotions. That is why you've seen this push on emotional intelligence. This consistent push, meaning that, but you cannot be emotionally intelligent if you're not aware of yourself. You need to know where you're coming from, the muscle memory you've built over the years, the culture that raised you over the years. You know, whenever we say a man needs not to be taken, a man's ego needs to be taken, you were structured somewhere. And if where you're structured, you don't even want to live there now, you want to improve your life, it tells you that whatever models and practice you had at that point is not good enough for where you are now. So my emphasis has always been, before anything, learn.
All right.
Learning changes everything.
All right. Anthony, my final question to you basically is maybe a call to other men out there who are silently struggling, but they cannot speak up. What would be your message to them?
Okay. Dear men, please breathe. Learn to speak up. Once you find a safe space, speak up.
Even if you don't find, go and
Look
look
for
for it.
Okay, look for a safe space.
For it.
Okay, it's been said that if you are looking for something and you can't find it, it
Create
means
one.
the ability to create it is in you.
Is in you.
So create a
Absolutely.
safe space. Create a safe space. Speak up. Rest. Men, you are working too much. This life you have is one.
It's one.
You are working too much. I'm not saying you should stop working. Of course, work, but rest. Find time to rest. And whatever makes you happy, do it. Do the right things. That
Thank
make
you very
happy.
much. That's a pregnant statement, right? Whatever makes you happy, do it. But yes, before we wrap up, this is a very important conversation because of the stereotype that society has created, men have been overlooked over the years, right? How can we as a society encourage protecting the mental health of men and making sure that men also understand the importance of them being mentally stable?
First of all, I think they can education. Anybody you see today was educated into who they are. We can re-educate men. Understand that. And I think, again, I come back to say thank you, Rapid TV, for what you're doing. I do know that there are policies and discussions, advocacy on mental health ongoing, but it's not strong enough. You know, where we are coming from, the depth of the damage is so deep. So what we need to cover, we need to do more. And I know that some organizations, at least for some that I consult for, are beginning to pay attention that at the point of recruiting you, they even measure your mental health. There are tools to that effect and the rest of them. So the key word for me is increase awareness, increase education, and if possible, as much as possible, let it be consistent, not only for men. I really don't believe it's a men thing. I believe it's a human being thing. Because even with the new records we're seeing, younger people are having more challenge with mental health,
That's
but
right.
even the older one is getting that bad. So I think just keep the education going. And thank you for doing it. And thank you.
Thank you so much. You definitely had a good time. I was busy jotting things down. Thank you so much. We have had Anthony Ezekiel. He is the Assistant Unit Head, Programs and Design, Mental Health for Youth Initiative. Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us on the show. We've also have Victor Prince Dixon, and he is the Human Capital Development expert. Thank you so much again, Victor, for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
We definitely learned so much here on the show. Victor kept smiling the whole time as though, yes, they're scoring a point for us. But that's pretty much it. Definitely had a good time on the show today. Just to remind you, we are active across social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and on TikTok. It is at Rapid TV. Our YouTube page is at Official Rapid TV. Point of call, send this video to your loved ones, send to your friends, your family, the men and the women in your life as well. Remember, it is at Official Rapid TV. And www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. Thank you so much again. My name is Martha Alu.
And my name is Victor Ake. All men, everyone, breathe.
Breathe.
We'll see you tomorrow.